Well, welcome to another Drunk on Software episode. Hopefully you'll get a number soon as James edits this together.
Yep, maybe number 10?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I guess it has to be the next one now. We're here with Anthony Franco at the EffectiveUI World Headquarters. I'm, of course, John Rose, and this is James Ward.
Welcome.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Anthony.
So you wanna start grilling him on the tough questions we promised?
Let's drive in. So you have a small business that is focused on RAs, right? And is that how you?
Well, I mean,
describe your business to us. Maybe we should
yeah.
start
Well,
out with that.
RA is a part. I would put us more in a category of. You forgive the marketing buzz feel to it, but it's a user. We call ourselves a user experience agency. What that means, right?
Okay.
I mean, buzzword bingo's going off, right? But what that really means is we're not about the technology or the implementation details. We're about driving better software for people.
Right.
And so, you talk to Forrester, and they don't know what to do with us, right? We're not an agency, and we're not a system integrator. So what's the space? So we're trying to coin this term, but I think it's I don't know if I like it or not, but it's this weird sliver of understanding the design as well as the development, and that those two teams need to work really well with one another.
And this has not really happened in the past, right?
Well, I think you can say that there's some industry leaders out there that have been around for a while that we compete with every once in a while. Frog Design's a great example, but they also blend into brand messaging and product design, where we're more focused on improving people's lives through software. So we're not about the messaging as much as we are as technologists that one thing that we commonly forget when I used to be a developer. One of the things I used to forget was there's a human at the end of the piece of software. There's somebody using it. And so I think we're trying to respect that component to it.
That's great. Yeah, there's a presentation that, I forget his name, some guy does, and he wrote a book on about how much software sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, every day we use a piece of software, whether it's in the browser or on the desktop, and you just have terrible experiences with it. And I think that's really what is really behind the RA thing, is just driving us to build better software. And it sounds like that's what your guys' vision is.
Yeah, and rich internet applications definitely, we sharpened our teeth on rich RAs. We started as only an Adobe shop, and all we did was Flex and Flash development. There are new players in the market, obviously, and not
but
just...
really the vision is broader. Let's make software better no matter where.
We built iPhone applications. We're actually building the Android app for BrightKite. So it is expanding into multiple channels, multiple devices for sure.
Great. So what's unique in your guys' background because I come from the developer side too, and myself and my peers, it seems like we have a really hard time crossing that big gap between bringing good design in. Is there something unique that you guys have that it lets you understand that better?
That's a really good question. So if you walk around and talk, I'm going to say this, and it doesn't resonate until you actually start talking to the folks that work here.
Yeah.
But they're all humble. It's this humility gene that we have here, and it's ironic. We're humble. It doesn't sound humble, right? But it truly is. You walk and you talk to these guys, and we have the who's who working here: Juan Sanchez, Jim Chang, Tony Hillerson, R.J. Owen, Brad Umbaugh, Sean Chrisman. Right? These guys are stellar in the industry, and you wouldn't know it to talk to them.
Well, that's one thing that I really liked when we walked into your office space, that everyone was on the same level in the same desk setup in this big open environment. And it seems like just that alone stimulates this culture of designers and developers working together. And if you go to other organizations that do the same sort of thing, the designers are over there and the developers are over there, and they don't really talk that much and intermingle. And it seemed like here you really have a culture where you can really come together.
I'll take that. I'll take that's I think to better answer your question, it's how do you bridge the gap? It starts with we understand that there is a human being at the end of a piece of software, and that we design empathetically to that person, and we develop to that. And the development team is starting to talk about user-centered development, not just user-centered design. So they want to be part of that design process, and they're starting to respect the process and design. And design is the same way. Great software comes together when with compromises. Design has to make compromises, technology has to make compromises, and the sweetness, the goodness is right in the middle.
So it sounds like currently it's really about the people that you have and a philosophy, I would say.
Definitely.
Do you anticipate tools like, and I'm forgetting the
Catalyst.
I was going to say
Catalyst.
Thermo and expressions with Microsoft and those things. Do you think those are going to make that even easier, or is it going to make it easier for everyone?
Well, so
gap?
we were at when Catalyst was Thermo. The Thermo team actually came here and interviewed our team to see how we
Like
our
the process.
Yeah, what our process was. So I would like to say that we had a little bit of a hand in helping that product along. So we definitely drank the Kool-Aid on designer developer workflow. And a lot of it we've helped develop and lead the way in a few areas. So is it going to be easier? There's no button that says make good software, right? So the tools just allow us to up level the game and also shrink how long it takes us to make software, but it still requires
talented people
that work well together.
Do you think that will make it easier for people who haven't traditionally bridged that gap between developer and designer to do that, or is it still just about the humility and really consciously making that leap, or do the tools? I mean, I'm not a big tools solve things guy, but I'm pretty interested in Thermo as someone that struggled with that paradigm.
Yeah, you give a hammer to somebody that doesn't know how to build a house, and
Fair enough.
so the tools are extremely important, but it only gets you they only get you so far.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So I want to talk with you about the economy. Obviously, everyone's talking about the economy not doing well. I feel that RIA has a great opportunity at this point in time to really go in and show how we can improve business ROI by building better software. And I don't know if you guys are seeing that. I haven't really validated this with people like you to see, all right, is this actually happening? Are businesses actually looking to use their IT budgets or their advertising budgets or whatever they have to build better software, more engaging experiences, or is everyone, just kind of like, let's stick with what we know works?
That's a good question. So first of all, if you're not worried about the economy right now, you're kind of an idiot, right? I mean, it's scary out there. Our GDP to debt ratio is really scary. Businesses are going to be cutting back.
Well, and it's global.
It's global. That said, people in our industry are going to suffer the least.
Yeah.
Right?
And in our industry, do you mean software in general?
Software, generally software technology is going to suffer the least. I mean, the government's going to be spending there. And the second thing, you hear this is why I hate the term user experience, but we're going to roll with it. The term user experience feels soft and fuzzy. Right? How do I apply that?
Right.
The best way we can do is start talking about the ROI, the return on investment in user experience. Forrester has a great stat. 70% of all IT projects fail.
Yeah.
The reason why they fail isn't technology. It's not because they ran out of budget. It's because they launched it. It's user acceptance.
Right.
They launched it. Nobody used it.
Wanted.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that a focus on user acceptance is to mitigate the risk in software development. And so our customers right now are saying that as well. So we haven't seen, there's no wood, but knock on wood, we haven't seen any issues with our business. In fact, we're seeing a little bit of a growth spurt, especially for larger enterprises that are saying, they're waking up and they're going, okay, what do we need to value most? Customer service is number one. How do you value, and customer service is hard to do with people, so let's provide better customer experience through self-service channels.
Yeah.
Rich internet application, that's the word, right?
Have you guys done anything in call centers too? This is one place where I'm starting to see some business ROI with rich internet applications.
Yes, I can't talk about it, but yes, we definitely are.
It seems like that's
viewers will sign the NDA. Makes you feel better.
It seems like that's a great place where rich internet applications can have a huge impact on not just developer productivity, which is I think one side of ROI, but also on the actual business ROI. Like we are reducing call times and that sort of thing.
Yeah, our customers don't care about developer activity. Honestly, they care about business. I have 5,000 customer service reps, and I want 3.
Yeah.
How do I do that? I have customers that are getting frustrated and changing to another. I got to stop that. So there's all kinds of different reasons why rich internet makes applications make sense, not just from a top down. What I mean by that is you can create new business channels for your company through better experiences online, but you can also drive a lot of efficiency for employees. We actually wrote the bug tracking tool. I don't know if you know this, for Adobe, called Watson
really?
Express.
Oh, okay, I've seen it.
And yeah, we were a part of that project. And the big reason that they decided to do that is they were developing software, or they were tracking their bugs in PeopleSoft.
Right.
And I think everybody has touched or seen PeopleSoft and knows how painful it was. So it was causing a lot of pain and a lot of inefficiency. So they decided to spend some money and improve the bug tracking tool.
Cool.
It actually has proven to be a pretty big success and win within Adobe.
Very good.
For a company like yours, not your end customers, but as a software company, or, I don't know if that's how you describe yourself, but building software.
Whatever, right.
Yeah, exactly. Are there opportunities that, between the economy and RAs and other things going on in the industry, are there opportunities that you didn't see that are new, that didn't exist before?
Well, I think I don't know if it's because of the economy as much as I think the industry was going to shift. A couple of years ago, it was early adopters of the software. Research, a discretionary budget. eBay Desktop, great example, right? It was a kind of an R&D, started as an R&D project, and so the industry is starting to see, at least we're starting to see, large Fortune 500 companies looking at the utility and usability of these applications and saying, we can apply this and solve some of our problems. So the industry in general is just shifting to enterprises having more faith in the technology and in the methodology. And also, there was no better thing to happen to us and I include Adobe in this as well, as Microsoft entering the market.
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody's eyes started to open up and go, oh, what is this RIA thing? And Microsoft just exploded the entire market. And
then Sun followed,
and Sun with Java Effects, and we're actually we're an Adobe partner. We're actually an Adobe Club 6 partner. So we've been very deep with our Adobe relationship. But Microsoft, we're a Global 20 partner with Microsoft. We're building some Java Effects applications for Sun. So the industry and there is no one size fits all platform.
Right.
And so it's now becoming a place where what's my core competency internally? What technologies can I adopt easily? And what's better for my customers? So it's really, the game's just really exploded.
Yeah, it's such a great jumping off point because so much of our audience is geeks. And can you give us kind of a high level of why you would choose one technology over the other? And I mean, obviously, if I'm a Microsoft shop, Silverlight's a very easy lead in, right? I know the tools, I'm comfortable with the paradigm, blah, blah, blah.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, there is new things, but unlike Flex, where I'm learning a whole new language, and if I'm a .NET shop, am I really going to go install Eclipse and that whole thing? But is there any kind of high-level guidelines of easy in picking between the different choices?
So I think you kind of nailed some of it. First of all, when ubiquity is critical, right now Flash is the choice, right? So if for any other reason, if user adoption is the critical thing and it's a consumer-facing application, you have to seriously look at the very least, look at Adobe technology.
It's hard to beat the availability.
Microsoft, however, so again, we're talking today, right? Microsoft is very interesting for enterprises that are .NET focused, that have a lot of .NET expertise and want to start building some good intranet business enterprise, business intelligence applications. Also, Silverlight is pretty darn good at video. So it's about, most of the time we're talking, we actually don't even get into technology discussion in the first conversation. We talk about what your customers and business issues are first. But again, we're talking to geeks, so Flash is for ubiquity. Silverlight is for if you're a .NET shop, and Java Effects is, I put them almost in the same category as Microsoft. So I was talking to I can't remember his name, Ray Valdez from Gartner, and he drew this little. I actually blogged about it. He drew this little chart about REA adoption, and he drew a chasm, right? And so everybody in this part of the chart was Adobe, right? These early adopters, and there's these enterprises that aren't willing to adopt technology yet because they want to see what everybody else does. And to leap that chasm, what Microsoft and Java are helping do is saying enterprises, we're mitigating the risk because you don't have to learn any new technology. You can just develop with your current team these rich internet applications. Now, there's a problem there also in that you can't just take a server developer and turn him into a RIA developer.
A good RIA developer.
A good RIA developer. Thank you. And you can't take an HTML developer and do the same. So there is some, a lot of what we do, a lot of the projects that we're doing right now is doing that first really important killer app for the enterprise and then migrating their team into the methodology, right? So a lot of the companies are seeing the benefit, but they don't want to write their hello world app that's going to be critical for their business.
So you're really jump-starting their
We're jump-starting their practice,
That's really interesting because, you know, a lot of people, they jump into Flex from Java or .NET or PHP or whatever, and they don't really know how to build good user interfaces. And so what they end up building is maybe marginally better than what they had before with HTML. And we see lots of great demos, many that you guys build, and it's like, wow, you know, this is great software. This stuff works really well. But being able to build that is kind of this huge difference between the guy that, you know, is just learning Flex or whatever UI technology. And it's not that they can't do it, and especially if they're working with designers, it's not that they're not capable, I think. It's just that it's a different mindset.
John Cleese, one of my favorite quotes from John Cleese, and I don't remember what it was from, but he said, if you're absolutely clueless to something, you lack the exact skills you need to know that you're absolutely clueless at it.
Right.
And it's why would you go in? You can't just jump in at something like this. I mean, simple things like data pagination. If you're a Java developer, you're just used to loading the 10 million records and munching them right there on the server and then spitting back out the data. You try to do that on a client application, you're gonna get a very bad UI. So you have to think about things like pagination, security, roles-based. Like there's all kinds of different things that you need to think about. Accessibility.
I love the quote. I mean, that's not new to RAs. That's software.
Yes.
The challenge of being a good developer.
Yes.
Is, do I even know what I need to know?
Yes, exactly.
One real quick thing on that. I was on a panel last week at UCLA, and one of the things that we were talking about was that the big need, and this was with a bunch of MBA students, the big need in the future is not for developers to learn these new RA platforms, but is for designers to get involved with the software developers.
Yes.
Right? Because if we,
I would say both, right?
Right. Yeah, both. But if we adopt a new RA technology and we don't engage the designers and we don't get designers that really know how to build or design these new breed of applications that work better, then I don't think we've really changed much, right?
Andy McIntosh I was talking to he's actually the very first person we ever hired. He's still here.
Cool.
He was talking about this exact same thing yesterday. He was saying, you know, and he's a developer, but he's taking on a more of a design information architecture is not really the term, but think of information architecture role on a couple of engagements. And he's saying, you know, what's interesting is I'm becoming a better developer because I'm thinking about design. And what's interesting also is the skills that I'm learning have legs. Right. The technologies will switch out. But the methodology and what I'm learning right now will last me for the rest of my life. I don't have to worry about code changing, you know, the platform changing all the time. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, totally. I totally agree with that, and I think that I really appreciate what your company does because you guys have that going on and are kind of like a leader in that space, saying, all right, we can do this. This is really what the next generation of software is really about. It's not about RIA. It's about making better software, and that means getting developers and designers working together. It means getting designers that know how to build applications for this new for the new capabilities that you have on these platforms. And I think that there aren't many people out there doing it, and so I think it's great to see what you guys are doing for sure.
A couple follow-ups on the platform side. I noticed you didn't include any discussion on AJAX. You see it as a RA platform?
Yeah, so I don't see it as an RA platform, but I also don't see it going away.
Okay.
Does
it have a place?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely has a place. It's the traditional software development answer. When do you use it? It depends.
Of course.
And so for applications that require really sophisticated functionality, you have to look outside of the browser technologies. Mostly because the browser wars are just ruining the AJAX platform. And
because
so
of fragmentation and differences.
And so what we found is sophisticated AJAX applications require 4 times the unit and exception testing. And so, because you have to test across all kinds of browsers, and so why not just write it once and deploy it and not have to, and test it, I only have to test it once in one browser, and you know it's just going to work across all platforms. And so that's what the promise of Flash and Silverlight and JavaFX will bring. AJAX, although really great technology, and we are using it in these large enterprise applications, but it's traditionally a hybrid mix of AJAX and some other RIA platform.
Interesting. The other thing I was curious about is, you said Flash is absolutely the answer for ubiquity. James and I were talking this morning about mobile, right? And if I have an iPhone, you know, the classic question, but not so much from the angle of how do you address that in general, but do I really want the same application on my phone? Is that really a legitimate desire users have? I know the world says we're going there, and
well, Kevin Lynch will tell you design for the phone first, and then use that same. So his thought on this, and I don't want to.
Yeah, he says that the design center is going to shift from the desktop or the browser to the mobile device, and we'll design first for the mobile device, and then take that and turn it into a larger application by aggregating portlets.
He brought his laptop and set it down and said, "I'm a dinosaur." This is where the future. And he held up his phone. And he said,
"Is that what you're seeing with users though? Like, are your users really saying, I need this on my phone?" Or I know that that's not necessarily something they're going to ask in that way.
No, it's a really good question. The answer. So, what I can tell you for sure is that nobody's the same, and it depends on who you. It depends on who you ask. But so, what's great about the fact that we're in so many different technologies is we don't have to worry. Like we'll design and develop the app on the device that makes the most sense for who's going to be using it. I'm not answering your question though.
I know.
So
I don't know that there is an answer, but
no, there is the answer.
There's not. But what you just said tells me there's not one platform for all devices. So the question of ubiquity, when you start getting beyond the PC or beyond the phone, it's unlikely that we have a single platform that's going to address all those.
Adobe wants to go there as from a just technology standpoint. I think Microsoft and Java.
Well, everybody wants to.
All the
I want to be a millionaire.
The interesting question about this is it useful to think about reusing an entire application in the browser and on the mobile device? And I think that's where I think.
No. Yeah. What we're looking for, the reason why we're excited about FlashPlay, the open screen project, is that we can use the same skills. It's the same reason why we're excited about Air. We can use the same skills to develop a desktop experience, a browser experience, and a mobile experience, and potentially use a lot of the same componentry.
But they're different experiences.
So it's not the same
they can be. I wouldn't necessarily say they should always be.
So would you ever see eBay Desktop on your iPhone? I mean, is that
eBay has an iPhone application?
But is it the same? It's a different application.
Totally different application. Yeah. But you could. But I do agree with Kevin Lynch when he says, if you design for the mobile device first, then that app could be a widget on the desktop. Like you could do it in reverse. Going from desktop to mobile, not real easy. But from mobile to desktop, probably.
Well, and as a developer, I love the idea of being able to use my same skill set. Yeah. But I just feel like it's unlikely I'm using the same code.
Not all of the same code.
Yeah.
Yes.
Reuse some pieces.
There's this dream, and there's this that I just don't think is ever going to get there, where the application dynamically knows what device and what resolution. The truth is that you have to make compromises on the device for functionality. Otherwise, it's and it has to be human doing it.
You have different ways of interacting. So on the iPhone, you have multi-touch, and all sorts of different ways to interact. And even on a laptop or on a PC, on the desktop, you don't have that same interaction model.
As a user, I have different desires, different things I want to do when I am on my phone versus my PC.
That's a great point. When it comes back to what does the user want, they probably don't want to do the same things on their phone as they want to do.
You try to build a piece of software that is something for everybody everywhere. You wind up developing a piece of software that it's nobody nowhere. Like exactly. it's just too difficult.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Cool. Well, I think that's good. This has been really insightful for me. So
you guys doing a good job here. This is
Yeah, very exciting.
cool office. I feel like I'm in San Francisco. We are in Denver. I love Denver. So.
Yep. Cool. All right. Well, thanks, Anthony.
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yep.